It was a warm afternoon in the tranquil suburb of Greenwood. Jason Carter, 11 years old, walked hand in hand with his younger brother, Reuben, who was just 7. The brothers had a route every now and then. They would walk to their grandmother's house when their parents were busy. The journey wasn't far, just a quick 10-minute stroll down Maple Street. Past familiar houses with well-kept gardens, to the house with the big red door. For Jason, this was a comforting ritual, one that made him feel responsible. For Reuben, it was an adventure, filled with the wonder of a child exploring his world. Their father, Senator Marcus Carter, was a prominent figure in the state, celebrated for championing justice and equality. But to Jason and Reuben, he was just dad, their protector and guide. Yet on this day, a day that started like any other, the peaceful walk would turn into a defining moment for them all. As the brothers turned the corner near the local park, Jason noticed 2 police officers standing by a patrol car. They were parked at the curb, appearing idle at first glance, but their sharp eyes locked onto Jason and Reuben as they approached. Jason felt a subtle shift in the air, a weight that hadn't been there moments before. "Jason, why are they staring at us?" Reuben asked in a timid voice, his hand gripping his brother's tighter. Jason's gaze didn't waver as he whispered back, "It's okay, Reuben. Just keep walking." But it wasn't okay. As they neared the officers, one of them stepped forward, blocking their path. His name tag read, Jared. The other officer, Robert, stood behind him with his arms crossed, his expression hard and unwelcoming. "Where do you 2 think you're going?" Jared asked, his voice carrying an edge of suspicion. Jason squared his shoulders, forcing himself to appear calm despite the fear bubbling inside. "We're walking to our grandma's house. It's just down the street." Robert scoffed. "Your grandma's house, huh? We don't see kids like you walking around here often." Jason's jaw tightened. He understood the implication. "We live just down the street. We're not doing anything wrong." But his words didn't seem to matter. Jared took a step closer, looming over the boys. "You look suspicious," he said, his tone cold. "Empty your pockets." Jason felt Reuben tremble beside him. He wanted to protest, to shield his little brother from this humiliation, but he knew resisting could make things worse. Slowly, Jason emptied his pockets, revealing a small toy car. Reuben, his eyes brimming with tears, handed over his beloved stuffed rabbit. Even after finding nothing, the officers weren't satisfied. They demanded to see the contents of their backpacks. Jason's heart broke as Jared roughly shook out their belongings, scattering them onto the sidewalk. Reuben's stuffed rabbit landed in the dirt, and tears began streaming down his cheeks. Something snapped inside Jason. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out his phone and dialed the only person he knew could help. "Dad," he said, his voice trembling. "We need you." Senator Marcus Carter sat in his office, poring over paperwork, when his phone rang. The tone in Jason's voice made his heart sink. "Where are you?" he asked, already grabbing his car keys. "Near the park on Maple Street. 2 officers stopped us. They're searching our things," Jason said. "I'm on my way," Marcus replied, his voice firm. Within moments, he was out the door, his driver pulling the car around in record time. The drive to Maple Street felt interminable. Marcus's mind raced with thoughts of his children. He had always taught them to be respectful, to stay calm in difficult situations. But he knew the world didn't always return the favor. His grip tightened on the car door as they neared the park. Back on Maple Street, the situation had escalated. Jared and Robert's accusations grew louder. "You don't belong here," Jared spat. "Kids like you, wandering around this neighborhood. What are you really up to?" Jason placed himself in front of Reuben, shielding him as best he could. "We didn't do anything wrong," he said, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at him. But his words fell on deaf ears. The officers seemed determined to make them feel powerless. "Maybe we should take them down to the station," Robert suggested, his tone laced with malice. "Make sure their story checks out." Reuben's small voice broke through the tension. "We just want to see Grandma," he said, clutching Jason's hand tightly. The innocence in his words made Jason's heart ache even more. Suddenly, the screech of tires cut through the tension. A sleek black car came to an abrupt stop, and Marcus Carter stepped out, his towering figure radiating authority. He was dressed in a sharp suit and tie, but today, he wasn't here as a senator. He was here as a father. "Jason, Reuben," Marcus called, his voice filled with both relief and fury. The boys turned toward him, their fear melting into relief as they ran into his arms. Marcus held them close, his eyes narrowing as he turned to face the officers. "What is going on here?" Marcus demanded, his voice calm but commanding. Jared and Robert hesitated, taken aback by his presence. Jared recovered first. "We were just ensuring these kids weren't causing trouble," he said defensively. "They look suspicious." Marcus's eyes blazed. "Suspicious? For walking down the street? These are my children, on their way to visit their grandmother." Robert stepped forward, attempting to justify their actions. "We didn't mean any harm. We were just doing our job." "Your job?" Marcus's voice rose, his anger palpable. "Your job is to serve and protect, not to harass innocent children. You had no right to stop them, no right to search them, and certainly no right to intimidate them." The officers shifted uncomfortably, their earlier confidence replaced by unease. Marcus pulled out his phone and made a call. Within minutes, additional police units arrived. Marcus explained the situation to the responding officers, who listened intently. Jared and Robert tried to defend their actions, but it was clear they had crossed a line. The gathered officers reviewed the situation carefully, questioning Jason and Reuben with care and sensitivity. The boys described every detail, from the initial encounter to the searches. Marcus stayed by their side, his presence a steady reassurance. Justice came swiftly. Jared and Robert were placed in handcuffs, charged with harassment and unlawful search. As they were led away, Jason and Reuben watched, their emotions a mix of relief and disbelief. Neighbors began to emerge from their homes, some recording the scene on their phones, others whispering among themselves. The quiet suburb of Greenwood was no longer so quiet. Marcus knelt before his sons, pulling them into a tight embrace. "You did the right thing by calling me," he said softly. "I'm proud of you." Reuben clung to his stuffed rabbit, still shaken, but comforted by his father's presence. Jason looked up at Marcus, a newfound respect shining in his eyes. "Will they come back?" Jason asked quietly. "No," Marcus said firmly. "They won't, and if they do, they'll answer to me." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Marcus Carter stood tall, his arms wrapped protectively around his sons. The quiet suburb of Greenwood had been shaken, but justice had prevailed. And for Jason and Reuben, their father wasn't just a senator or a protector. He was their hero. In the days that followed, Marcus used the incident as a catalyst for change. He spoke openly about what had happened, using his platform to address issues of racial profiling and police accountability. Jason and Reuben's story became a powerful example, sparking conversations in households and town halls alike. Marcus's fight for justice now felt more personal than ever, and his community rallied behind him. Thank you for watching the story of courage and resilience. If it resonated with you, don't forget to like the video, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications for more powerful stories. Until next time, stay safe and stay inspired.